Hey up everyone, Magpie Gaming here. I hope you're all doing well. This is going to be a little bit of a ramble video, and it's all regarding the dynamic loot system, but I do have some valid points to make in it, so it would be great if you could stick about. Just before I get into the video, if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, it would be amazing if you could consider doing so. I'm putting out Tarkov content almost daily at the moment, following the news with the game. I also make a lot of quest videos and things like that as well, so it would be ace if you could drop a sub. If not, giving a like or a comment on the video would really help me out. It keeps the YouTube algorithm in my favour, so that would be great. So getting back to the video, dynamic loot is what we are currently in right now in Escape from Tarkov. This was an event that started just over a week ago, and Nikita came out and said at the time that it was the first of a series of events that would be taking place with dynamic loot, with the aim of reaching a completely dynamic loot state on the game. We've now come to learn that it's not an event at all. This is exactly how the game is going to stay going forward, meaning that we are not going to go back to how loot used to be. We are going to stay in this dynamic state, as they call it, and there will be iterations on top of that going forward. So since they started this event that is now no longer an event, it is the new norm in the game, they've buffed the rarer items in the game quite a lot to make them spawn a lot more. So basically how the dynamic loot is working right now is that before you had, rooms and locked places that you would go to in certain maps in the game, and you knew that within these areas you had a higher percentage chance of certain loot spawning there. So let's take for instance a LEDX. You knew that going to a certain room, there was a higher chance of it spawning there than anywhere else in the game. That's no longer the case now. That LEDX can now spawn pretty much anywhere. The raid will choose where that loot spawns as it creates the raid whilst you're waiting to go in it. So it's basically a case of looking everywhere in a map to try and find these items, which I understand can be extremely frustrating, especially if you have quests where you have to get specific items. You can no longer go to a certain place to get that specific item now. It can be anywhere. So it means that, I think from Battlestate games point of view, it means that it will slow things down within raid. You will check more places out, go to more places, maybe end up getting into PvE and PvP where you wouldn't normally go, and it's a way of freshening up the game and keeping it moving along. So and I've spoken about things like this in previous videos where the game can feel a little bit stale, it can feel a little bit stagnant. This is one of the ways of shaking it up. That and some of the other events that they've done, events that they've got planned to come, such as putting Rashala on Shoreline. That was another event that just changed things up, got it going. And like the Scav Karma event that we've currently got going on right now, it just freshens up the game, livens it up. But these are events that come and then go. This dynamic loot situation isn't going to go away, it is going to stay the way it is now. But obviously there will be changes to it going forward, but it isn't going to go back. But yeah, you've just got to look in other areas now for the loot that you want, and yeah, like I say, I understand that is a hard thing to do when you're looking for certain items and you have absolutely no clue where they're spawning anymore. But I've got to say that through the raids that I've been doing over the last week, I have seen a great increase in certain items that I've been able to get hold of. For instance, water filters is one. I'm finding a lot more of them throughout customs at the moment. I'm going to say customs because I haven't really played other maps this week. I've been sticking to customs as a baseline just to give me an idea of what kind of changes the loot has undergone. And I can say that the areas where I would expect to find water filters, I'm still finding them. I'm also finding them in a couple of other areas where I wouldn't normally find them, but in the areas where I would normally find them, I'm finding more of them. So it doesn't seem as though they've changed things up too much. There just seems to be more of this loot out there. So when it comes to looking for certain items, I think eventually we will settle on there being places where there is a slightly higher chance of this rare loot spawning, but it's not going to be a foregone conclusion, such as LEDX spawning in the ground floor of the east wing of Shoreline. So you're going to have to look at other places, but there will be places where it still will have a slightly higher chance of spawning. So one of the things that I've learned over the last week of playing the game is just to check every nook and cranny of everywhere you go. Like I say, I've been using customs as a baseline. Customs is one of the places where I run my scav all the time. I don't run my scav in any other map, and I know people might think I'm crazy for maybe not going to interchange and hitting the stashes, or maybe not going to reserve or factory, but customs, for me, I find it a very, very very good map to scav into. 10-12 minutes I can walk out of customs regularly with 350-400 grand's worth of loot on me, and that has only increased over the last week since they've buffed a lot of the loot. So some of the places that I'm looking are quite mundane, maybe places that you would always look at just to see if there's maybe something there that you might like, or places that you would completely and utterly disregard because you don't think that there's anything worthwhile there. So on the ground floor of the 3-story dorms, and if I remember I'll put it up on screen, you've got this shelving unit right at the bottom of the corridor. 99% of the time before this change in the loot I would not even look at this shelf. I know that shelves can spawn certain items, but usually it's a wrench or a screwdriver, nothing of real significance. This shelf this week I have found water filters on it, I have found a GPU on it, I have found a vase on it, I have found a golden clock on it. It has been a real gold mine for me. A lot of raids I've gone and there's been nothing there, of course, but it's been pretty good to me. Then we've got this shelving unit in this blue building here, which is just to the side of old gas, and it's a little thoroughfare for scavs to come through this door here. You turn right and you've got a shelving unit. This shelving unit has a jacket. 9 times out of 10 I will always check the jacket to see if there's anything in there. The shelving unit, every now and again you might get lucky and it has a condensed milk on or some fuel conditioner. Just recently it's had a hell of a lot on. I've been finding car batteries on here, a lot of fuel conditioner, things like that, you know, stuff that you could sell for 30-40 grand to the traders or maybe flip on the market for a little bit more. I've been finding a lot here. One thing that I wouldn't do in this area though is look on the shelves to the left of the jacket. There was never anything spawned there before, but now there is. I've found car batteries there. Weirdly, I've been finding Wi-Fi cameras there for some reason, I don't know why. I never even knew there was a spawn in the game, but apparently they are, because I found a handful of them this week already. So that's another place that I would look and never think to look at before. Then we have this shelving unit in this little square room. This is upstairs in the little brick building next to boiler tanks, and I would always look in here. Every now and again you might get an MRE or some rations or something like that. Nothing of great significance, but if you was a bit low on energy I would always pop in this room just to see if there's anything in there. But especially at the moment I'm finding a lot of sugar in here, a lot of condensed milk. I'm finding the crass water in there. Sugar, it's going from anywhere for 50 grand upwards at the moment on the market, which is great for loot that just takes up one cell in your stash. So it's always worth having a look in here. And like I say, it's these shelving units, I don't know what it is about them, but they just seem to be dripping in loot just recently for me. It could be that I've just been extremely lucky with the raids that I've gone into by finding this loot in there, but I'm finding a lot more loot out there. But I'm also seeing on social media a lot of people complain that they can't find anything, and I think it's just because you're stuck in your ways. You're looking at the same old places all of the time, and you go into the same rooms with the same keys. And yes, these rooms have been nerfed, but the overall loot hasn't. It's been buffed. It's just in different areas, and sadly for those of you that don't want to change, you're gonna have to go looking in these other areas for the loot. You're gonna have to explore in places that you maybe wouldn't normally go to. You're gonna have to change up your gameplay to try and find the things that you need to carry on in the game. That's just the way it's going. And like I say, in no uncertain terms, we are not going back to how loot used to be. That is it now. Nikita has confirmed that. He said they're going to push forward with this dynamic loot change. This is his vision for the game. It freshens up the gameplay, which I agree with him on that. We don't like change in Tarkov. A lot of us don't like change, and in the 2.5 years that I've been playing the game, I've not enjoyed some of the changes that they've made. Every now and again I've walked away from the game and I thought, you know what, I'll come back in a couple of weeks when things are settled down, but I've got over it, and every change that they've made has made the game better. So yeah, it's one of these things where you think, no, that's definitely not going to work, they shouldn't do that, and they do it, and you try it and it's like, yeah, it's not too bad actually, that's okay, it's, you know, it's not as bad as what I thought, and then eventually you just get used to it. Because everybody is the same. Everybody has to go through the same playstyle. Everybody has to go through the same sort of in-game mechanics and in-game animations and things like that. You know, we're all exactly the same. So nobody's better off and nobody's worse off. We're all exactly the same. And it's going to be the same with the loot situation. You are just going to have to look at other places more. You're going to have to search places that you normally wouldn't search to find the loot that you want, because we're not going back. And that is it. And that is pretty much it for my little ramble/rant on the dynamic loot thing. Like I say, it's been confirmed by Nikita that it's staying this way. So we're just going to have to roll with it and see how it goes. But for me, definitely looting as a scav or a PMC. I can't carry everything out. I'm seriously having to leave very valuable stuff behind because I don't have the room to get it out. I'm finding so much loot, but like I say, I could just be getting lucky and everybody else could be having, you know, really bad luck, I don't know. But there you go. Like I said at the start of the video, if you're not currently subscribed, it would be amazing if you could consider doing so. I'm putting Tarkov content out all the time and I will continue to do so going forward, so it would be amazing if you could drop a sub, if not a like and a comment. That would be brilliant. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Stay safe and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.